That's it, I'm shutting the show off.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit about that part, did he? He didn't cherry pick around that shit.
Wait, people are watching your show. Here we go. I hope she broke up because the last parts of Kirby was so bad.
Live.
There we go. All right, okay, there we go. Hey guys, we are live. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. It is kind of a Christmas episode, but we do have Lucas Werner on with us today. I think Drag wants to ask him a couple questions. I'm gonna be in the background. Ted is probably just gonna crack jokes as he always does. But I think we actually wanted to get started with what happened to you this past week with the catfishing.
Oh my god. So somebody sent me a plane ticket, and I was like, we were talking, and she sent me a plane ticket. Like, there's no fucking way that somebody's gonna send me $100 plane ticket and an Uber to do anything to me. It just doesn't seem like that would happen, because I just went with it because I've been living in like under a bridge. I'm seriously homeless right now. I'm like trying to find housing and saving money for that I can't touch unless it's for housing. So I just went with it because I knew if something happened, I would just come back and get some money wired to me at Western Union and pick it up at like Walgreens or whatever. And turned out they were there just to fuck with me and to make me spend money on coming back. And that was the plan. It was like, well, okay, I had a little bit of an adventure. I was not doing anything besides like sleeping under blankets in the woods, basically. I might as well go on a plane ride. So I did that, and I got there, and it was this dude named Derek or something like that, pretending to be this chick, garbage_goat on Instagram, and saying her name was Maya, and her dad. He's like, well, you're trying to talk to a 16-year-old girl, motherfucker. I'm like, she told me she was 22, sir. And he's like, well, you're just a pedophile into like 18-year-old women. I'm like, first of all, that's not pedophilia, you fucking idiot. He's like, we're Republicans. I'm like, yeah, but you're not listening to anything I goddamn have to say. She said she was 22. I followed up on that because she said she was 22. And here your bitch ass is calling me a pedophile and a Trump supporter. You're saying you're a Trump supporter. That right there shows me that you're a fucking retard.
Kind of harsh.
But like before that point, we were trying to hash it out. I was like, we need to reach across the aisle and forget our politics and just figure out what your daughter did, sir. And he's like, well, she stole my credit card. You're a pedophile. Like, she told me she was 22. I'm not here to listen to you. And the fact that he said that he was a Republican just made me hate him even more. So it was just some jackasses.
So this is the conversation that's now been obviously uploaded to quite a few channels, correct?
I guess so.
Okay, all right. I just presumed that because I've listened to it, and I forget the title of it, but I can hear you calling the guy sir, and he's saying that, hey, you're talking to an underage chick, what's going on, and obviously the back and forth there. So were there any red flags at any point in time during this adventure that, like, what were the red flags that you sort of picked up on?
I mean, I had seen this chick's Instagram before, so I knew she was legitimate, but it just, I mean, sending me a ticket when it wasn't to come back. It wasn't round trip or anything, but I just went with it because I was bored, and I knew I would be able to come back because I could just get money wired to me and come back. But somebody was like, that's not fair. What they did to you was downright cruel. You could have got beat up in Skid Row for being a white guy there. Well, for one thing, the people on Skid Row are mostly like Black and Latin, and they were some of the nicest people I had met my entire life. Like I was walking on 7th Street on Skid Row, and they were some of the nicest people, and like drug addicts and shit. And I don't know why I have no fear of like South Central LA. It just doesn't scare me. Right. I just keep my mouth shut,
So since then, have you communicated with anybody on Instagram concerning this? The potential or the suspected catfish? Have they tried to reach out to you?
No, not really. There's that Clickatat on who says it's not in the cards for you, Lucas, all the time to me. They've called my phone before, and he called me and said, it's not in the cards for you. I'm like, sir, that is something I've heard from you trolls for a long time, but it doesn't really affect me, sir. I was like super polite to the guy in the regards that he could have actually been her father. So like, I'm sure they recorded it.
Yeah, it's I can guarantee it's definitely, because I listened to it.
Yeah, he's a bitch ass fucker. Right. Like I that Clickatat, I think, is behind this on YouTube. What they did was just cruel, and I've said my piece to them. I've said they were bitches, and that I'm going to let my haters be my motivators, and if they could, just fuck off, because there's no point to really acknowledging them anymore. But like, look them up, and they'll call me a pedophile on Instagram, and I'll delete their comments, and I'll write them. I'll say, fuck you, bitch. You're just a hater. I'm going to let you be my motivator, and I block them. I like 18-year-old women, so I'm a pedophile. Oh, I see. It's just shit like that. Like, so, what the fuck is with these dumb fucks?
As far as what you were promised, the job prospect, I think, was mentioned. So, like, what sort of job prospect were you being promised at this point? Because I never got any clarity on that.
She said that her dad was going to hook me up in the office to do like menial paperwork. And I'd done some office work at a volunteer place before called the Evergreen Club in Spokane. And I like doing that kind of thing. So I just decided to check it out, because I know there's menial office work that you could do.
Did she give you a name of a firm or something that the dad worked for?
No, I just went with it just to see what was going on.
Okay.
Because my parents were travel agents, so I kind of have that spirit of adventure.
Sure.
And so I just was like, I'm bored. I'm going to go check it out. If I run into trouble, I can get back. And then somebody took pity on me, and they're like, no, you can't. You can't just spend your money. You're poor. I'm going to give you a bus ticket so you can relax.
Right. And that was a $350 bus ticket. I think I saw a picture of it at some point.
$250, if I'm not mistaken.
$250. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, cool.
Really nice lady, a friend of mine from Dallas that I don't know well, but she volunteered to help me. So I was like, okay, that's really generous of you. Thank you.
No, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I know some very nice people.
Right. Okay.
And they know I'm real fly by the seat of the pants type of guy. I'll just go check things out. It's so hard to find anybody. Nobody's willing to do a video chat with me. From the women that I'm interested in, I'm experiencing nothing but age phobia and classism from a generation that largely calls itself socialist, and the media calls socialist. Well, that greed of not telling me where the party at, where the honey is at, as they swoop these 6 chicks in the middle of COVID-19. See, they want to be my friend, but they want to be my friend to take advantage of me, but they don't want to help me out because the Zoomers seem like they're a bunch of bigots, which is contradictory because those guys love Black Lives Matter, they love ACAB and shit like that. And it's really cool that they're a real activist-y type of generation. But when it comes to me, all they give me is bullshit and hate. And I've been there for people like my buddy Isaac, like, I've hooked this brother up with so much food. He's Latin. For no reason whatsoever, just because he's a young dude and we just kind of hang out, I've hooked him up with like pizza and sandwiches and just handed him handfuls of weed and like all sorts of stuff because I'm generous, and those ounces in the dispensaries are like $175 or like 75 or $100. And because he was going to help me design a board game, I just hooked him up with weed so he could bounce his ideas off me for this character stuff he was doing. And like I've hooked him up with Mexican food at Autolanos I talk about all the time, and Taco Bell. We each got those big ass nachos that are like the size of the table. His friend Mario complains about him all the time too. They're both Latin. Mario and I are about the same age. Mario's 38. I'm 41, and Isaac is 19. And Isaac will take and take and take and take, but never reciprocate any kind of information on where to meet women, even though he knows all these hot women. Right. But he finally did hook me up with somebody that I'm talking to right now over Instagram or over the phone. But again, she's somebody that doesn't want to have children, and I want to have kids. So he just lazy there too. He doesn't give me anything that I want. I'm always hooking him up. Like I'm always like being the sounding board for this dude. And he just takes advantage of people.
Well, it sounds very transactional. That just on the surface here, it sounds very transactional because you say, all right, I'm hooking this guy up with food and weed and all this other kind of stuff, and you are expecting something very, very specific, that this guy act as essentially a matchmaker or a wingman for you to acquire a chick. Now, I think a lot of what I hear from you, and I want to let Tad actually take over here for a second, but it sounds like you almost expect guys to just sort of hand you a woman, right? That's
no.
Kind of how it
it's
comes
like,
across.
Well, okay, where the party at? How come they don't answer that question? How come they won't invite me to the parties, but I'm expected to just like hook them up with food? Like, I don't mind helping my friends out because people are always there for me. And I'm talking to people on Instagram all the time about their bullshit and their lives. And I rarely ask people for anything. But like when it comes down to it, if I need anything, my friends are there for me. They'll hook me up with food if I need it. I don't ask them very often. And but not with Isaac. You're just like, hey, can I get some food? Hey, can I get some food? I'm like, you're my buddy, sure thing. You hanging out with those chicks that you're always hanging out with? You think you can maybe introduce me to one or two of them, and we could talk? It's like, yeah, but I'm not really hanging out with them much anymore. But then like he'll swoop, and like 2 days before my birthday, he hooked up with this chick, and he was like asking me to buy him alcohol. I'm like, buy you alcohol? Am I gonna get to hang out in your little sesh? He's like, he didn't answer the question directly. It's like, if you don't do it, I'm just gonna get somebody else to do it. So in other words, you want me to buy you alcohol so you can go fuck 2 days before my birthday, but you don't give a damn about my struggle or anything I do for you. Even though I hook you up with weed and food all the time, you're just gonna leave me hanging, bro. And he's there like, well, I'm just gonna go find somebody else. I'm like, fine, whatever, you're greedy.
Right. So here's my thing. Sure, people in a friendship, in a mutual, I guess heterosexual, guys having some sort of relationship with one another, you would expect one to do for the other. Like I have a good buddy of mine here who's bisexual, and I don't obligate him to sort of be there for my very specific needs. So let's say if I had it because he's into trans women, so I'll do this. So if I really wanted like a big titty Asian trans woman, right? For me to try to say that, I buy you food, you come out, hang out at my house, my family, you have to get me that. That's a whole lot of pressure on someone who's just a friend. And what you're looking for, Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, is very, very specific, right? You're looking for a woman that's fairly young, younger than you relatively, and that is looking for kids. She's looking to mate, right? So
and
that's very specific.
I get that, but it's like 2/3 of women that age. I've looked at the statistics on that. It's like, why I mean, I get it. I understand the whole transactionalism. I get that like it's good to hook up your friends with food and meals and stuff. But it's like when I first met Isaac this summer, he's like, "Yeah, you seem like a cool guy." I'm like, "Hey, thanks, man." And like I always see him walking around with chicks and like hot chicks. I'm like, "Hey, dude, do you think you can hook me up with someone? Like, introduce me?" He's like, "Yeah, they're not really hanging out with me all that often, but I see him there all the time." I'm like, see, for like months and months and months, I just like let it go. And it's like I was always there for Isaac. I'm always there for Isaac if he needs anything, because he's a young guy and he struggles and he's been homeless, and I've always been there. I've handed him so much weed and like so much food, but he never has done anything for me. And Mario, his buddy, that's also my buddy, complains about this too, how Isaac is just narcissistic and only cares about himself. Mario wants to find happiness too. But like what he realizes with Isaac is Isaac just wants to rely on others, but not hook anybody up or help anybody. He just wants to lean on others,
Right.
but
So
he doesn't want to help them with anything.
Isaac is
He's a
19.
mooch.
He's 19, right? Yeah,
Right.
that's a typical 19-year-old, man. You are almost twice this guy's age. I don't expect a 19-year-old to have the mentality, the wherewithal to look out for anyone but themselves, right? So while I understand somewhat of your plight, you, I think, have a bit of a I guess misconception as far as what the priorities are in a 19-year-old, you know. And this is sort of one of the things where, for me personally, my peer group are not going to be 19-year-olds, right? If I was in your predicament, I want a woman who is going to breed with me. It will be, I want a matchmaker, it's going to be someone close to my age. I'm finding someone that identifies more with me, because a 19-year-old doesn't care about you breeding, no matter how much weed you get him, none of that stuff, man. But you, on some level, you have to know that.
I get that, but they're still bigots.
They're still bigots.
Ageism. They're still bigots.
I disagree. I think they're just selfish. I think 19-year-olds.
Well, they are selfish, but that's still bigotry.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
No, it's not really bigotry, like because you calling it bigotry kind of diminishes what bigotry means. Kind of like if everyone's a rapist, then no one's a rapist type thing.
Ageism.
Yeah, then that's not really a thing.
Age phobia. No, it is a thing.
Okay.
They are bigots, unless they prove otherwise. They'll hook up their friends that are their age. They'll hook up their friends that are their age. They're like, "Yeah, homie, I know this chick named Cassandra or whatever. You got to meet her because you guys really click." But if you're like outside their age group, they just expect you to supply them in their narcissism without doing anything until there's evidence otherwise. To me, they're bigots, because they'll hook up their friends willy-nilly that are their age. But if you're older, oh, it's a big deal. That's bigotry.
Okay.
All bigotry needs to go.
So
racism, classism, age phobia, homophobia, it all needs to go. Misogyny, it all needs to go.
Okay, so
that's just how I feel.
That's fine and dandy. Okay, so based on your logic, prove to me that you're not racist.
Talking to this guy here, I mean, I've been.
Yeah, and that actually makes you sound racist. You're like, I'm around a black person right now.
Well, I voted for Obama. I don't really see.
Don't say you don't
how
see
I'm a
color.
racist.
Don't say that.
No, I'm not saying that. I see color. I just don't see how it should separate us from being friends with people that are different skin color nationalities. I don't understand.
Your standard of saying they have to prove that they're not ageist is bonkers. You would have to prove that they are ageist instead of the other way around. It's kind of like,
how come they get the women and we don't? That's bigotry.
No. Don't use the word
it
we.
is.
I'm doing fine.
Sure, because you're interested in women your own age, and that's fair. But I'm not. I've dated women my own
age. Fine.
Well, I've dated women my own age. I don't want to date them anymore. I want something new.
Okay, so what do you, Lucas Werner, or Lucas J. Werner, or Lucas whatever initial Warner, what are you bringing to the table that an 18-year-old would like to have?
From what I've seen, 18-year-olds are immature. You know what I mean? Like 18-year-old dudes especially are immature. I know
Okay,
I
well,
was. I know we all were. But like,
you can't mate with an 18-year-old dude. So,
no, I get that. But what I'm saying is like, why do they date these guys that are just assholes to women? A
oh,
lot of times
because
they are assholes to women. It doesn't
no,
make any
okay,
sense.
so
When I'm with like 18 or women or younger women, I'm asking them how their day is going. I'm asking them how they are, their struggles. I'm asking them about themselves. I'm glowing them up, and I'm telling them it doesn't really matter the age group whatsoever. But like with my friends, if they're down on themselves, I'm telling them that they're wrong and that they're good people.
okay, so that's actually a pretty easy question to answer. Why do 18-year-old women date 18-year-old men? Because most of the 18-year-old women are dating people within their same like generation. They're talking to them, they've known them for years, or they have so much in common. Kind of like if someone in their age group says, "Hey, did you watch Yu Yu Hakusho or some show?" They all know what the hell they're talking about. You would be, what's that up there? Also, you're falling into a sort of, okay, I'm gonna call this. This is my lens cap. I'm gonna call it a pussy token. You do not to get to be nice and go, pussy.
No, I
please.
get that. I don't do that. But like when I'm there for them. I'm not saying that entitles me to a relationship with them, but it seems to me like I'm more there for women than an 18-year-old dude. An 18-year-old dude usually is just there to play. And, you know, as you get older, you mature. And I feel like I'm more mature now as a 41-year-old man than I was an 18-year-old man. I mean, you know, that's true, that as you get older, you tend to mature most of the time. And women are always Women are always complaining about the immaturity of dudes that they date, but then they go and date a guy that's exactly the same. Like they'll complain, oh, these flat bill baseball cap dudes are a bunch of assholes. But then like the next dude they date is a guy who's exactly the same, or the greaser that'll like hook up with like 6 chicks. And then I get it. That's what I mean. Like, what I'm saying is like you could be 40 years old and have the same fashion sense as an 18-year-old, but a lot of times they won't date you just because you're not their age. You seem to know about anime and video games too, but like if an 18-year-old woman is being rude to you and being a jerk to you just because you're 31 and mentioning you're old, well, that's her bigotry.
Oh, if they're giggling and calling me old, I'm just gonna giggle and go, ha ha ha! I own a house and I have a career.
Right.
Like, okay, so generally, if a girl is going for someone in your age bracket or anyone literally higher than your age bracket, and they're 18, generally they're looking for stability and someone that has lots of money.
Gold diggers.
And yeah, essentially, yeah. There you go. You nailed it. There's a problem. You have none of those things.
Yeah. But okay, they're a socialist generation. How?
Okay, define socialism.
Sharing the wealth. Not judging people based on their economic class.
No, that's not socialism. Socialism is seizing the profit and the means of production. It's not really anything to do with like classism. Like even under a socialist economy, there's still going to be a class society. It's not going to be as diverse as what we are now, which is literally right around
I disagree.
the same. That well, you can be wrong. It's literally.
Well, no, I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is. But
no,
it literally, we were at the point where Egyptians and the pharaohs, the wealth disparity. You'll still have wealth disparity. There's no way to get rid of it because of the fact of free trade. Free trade is always going to create a little bit of wealth disparity. It's not going to be everyone has $100 type thing. So
however, no, I mean, if you were to talk to like 18, I go to college, so I know them, and my friend Austin, he's like 22. These people seem to hate capitalism with a fucking passion. They seem to just hate the whole system of like gods and masters. The whole atheism thing is growing. The whole idea of like workers' rights and solidarity is growing. especially among the younger generation. The millennials are often like that because of like the Occupy movement in Zuccotti Park. They're sick and tired of the whole wealth disparity. Bernie Sanders was their cat. They're tired of like classism. They're tired of capitalism.
I
And I've talked
100%
to them.
understand that. But just because they're anti-capitalism, anti-yada yada, whatever you just said, doesn't mean they're going to date a hobo.
Right, but that's hypocrisy.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
It's called
It really
setting
is.
yourself up for the
No,
future.
it's called no war but class war. But
like
I'm for no war but class war. I'm for no gods, no masters.
I
I'm
understand.
the
That.
left. Right.
I understand that left yada 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 thing. It's not because you're in a different class, because most of these kids are actually in a lower class than you if they really put things together. They have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt that's going to take them years and years to pay off.
Exactly.
And some of them will never pay it off because they're going to get a stupid degree and fucking basket weaving and something stupid. But at the end of the day, they're always going to try to set themselves up for better life. It's the human nature.
Right. And I'm trying to do that as well. That's why I'm going to college. I mean, I want to get a job too.
Are you going to college to hit on women, or are you going to college to get a degree? Those are two different things.
Both.
Okay, both perfect answer. Okay, because we have a guy named G-Man who likes to go to colleges and yells at people for evolution. Okay, I don't have any more questions at this point. Drag, if you want to take
that's fine. Yeah, so I'm just trying to make sure that our guests later are ready. But so let's shift topics a bit, because Lucas, you and I talked a bit on Instagram, and you've been dying to talk about the telomere stuff. And according to you, you've not gotten a fair shake at discussing sort of your niche area. And it just so happens that, and you did a little bit of research on me, so you know a bit about my educational background, right?
Sure. Yeah, you said you were pursuing a master's degree.
All right, so I'm currently pursuing
my master's. Huh? In cellular aging?
Yes.
It?
So I already have a bachelor's degree in biology with a concentration in cellular, molecular, and biotechnology. I am currently doing a master's thesis on cell aging, specifically using yeast. If you actually type in the loss of vacuolar acidity in Google, like 2020, that's my research is going to be based off of the AFT1 gene in that paper. So that's what I'm doing now.
Talking about a niche.
Yeah, so it's a very niche topic. Now, one of the things that I did talk to my PI about, right, and I kept you in mind way early on, back when I first got confirmed, that one of the things that we just can't simply look at is, let's say, oh, you know what, telomeres equals good long life, right? That's not that's not the full picture, and that's something that I've been wanting to sort of discuss with you, because I see some of the things that you put out there, and it may
did you cut?
Oh, I think he cut out for a second. Okay, give him a second to come back. By the way, so. Huh? So this is a good opportunity. If you want to come in and talk to the Werner, please tag the Geek Room in the chat. A little bit. It would have to be $10, honestly, but I just said $10.
And also, if you got questions, just if you want to send them through super chats, we can try to answer them at the end.
That's as nice as you guys are ever gonna get me.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I got booted or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hotel Wi-Fi, man.
Yes, I'm not on that Wi-Fi though.
You're not okay.
Nah.
All right, that's fine. So
no, I put me.
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is that I've seen sort of what you put out there, sort of these factoids about telomeres, and I have two minds of this, or two thoughts, I should say. One, that I don't think that paints a complete picture, because you can have long telomeres, but that does not equal any type of longevity, right? That's something that is actually demonstrable. For instance, we as humans have like 5 to 15 kilobases of telomeres, as opposed to mice who have about 50 kilobases of telomeres. They live a fraction of our lifespan. So I think that, while it's a very interesting topic, I think there is a little bit of misapprehension based on sort of what I see you put out there, right? So would you agree that it's a more nuanced discussion that needs to be had?
It's definitely a nuanced discussion.
Okay. So that's something that I definitely wanted to approach you on, because I think that, I'm not saying that you're trying to deceive anybody, but I think that it does deserve a lot more attention other than saying telomeres, because that the average person couldn't even tell you what a telomere looks like if they were looking at a line of code as far as your genes. Like if you were to stretch out your chromosomes, how many people are going to be able to point to where the telomeres are?
Right, at the tip of the chromosome.
Okay, so that's sort of, that defeats the purpose. That's like me going out and using a bunch of biology or biochemistry jargon on lay people. That means absolutely nothing to them. Right. So I think that approach that you use is not very effective at all. But
do you have an odd or even number of chromosomes?
Yeah. Fuck you, Billy.
23 base pairs.
Yeah. So they what was I gonna say, Billy? Again, you lost. Goddamn, Billy.
Oh, real quick, Drag. Do you want me send it to Lola first?
I think somebody else was supposed to come on before Lola.
She's not answering it yet. So
okay, so
just take 46 and multiply it by how many cells in the human body. Trillions.
Yeah, like you have
46 trillion or 100 trillion kilometers in your. 400 trillion or maybe something like that.
Yeah, I'm just want to address about the telomeres. Albot, I see your comment. I'm ignoring that. So one of the things that I found interesting, and I've actually spoken to a few women about this, is that you sort of use the telomere thing as almost a pickup line, which I found you used to.
Yeah, I don't really use it anymore. Okay. I've mentioned that I'm looking at it, but it's like I'll move on to them. You know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, I was trying that, but I didn't.
Right. Did you find that it wasn't very effective?
Yeah. Okay. Too sciencey for people.
Okay, because don't get me wrong. There are women who find science and scientists sexy. Absolutely. I've got a white coat and women find that sexy. But
there you go.
I think it's about the approach. And I know you've heard people call you creepy in the past.
I guess so.
So people be okay, cool, fine. So why do you think that, given that you focus on science, why did they call you creepy, even though your focus seems to be scientific in nature?
Because it was stuff that I was largely doing 5 years ago, and it's not stuff that I'm doing now. And when people don't like you, they usually don't like you based on shit from like a long time ago. And when you change as a human being, they don't really want you to change because they want to hate the same person you were. And I think that 5 years ago, I was a lot different than I am now. I mean,
so you do things quite differently now. Your approach is different as far as women.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a match on Tinder, I'll talk about her, what I find fascinating about her. I don't even mention that shit anymore. There's no point. They're not going to listen to it, so it doesn't really matter.
So if a girl messages you on Tinder and says, "Hey," what's like your first initial response?
I would probably say, "Hi, how's it going? It's nice to meet you."
And how many messages in do you send the dick pic?
Huh? Well,
kidding.
never. Like I've done it before, but like I've done it as a joke, kind of. But like, there's been people that have like begged me for the dick pic, and it's like right there, I know that's the red flag. Because you just want to like.
There's so many trolls that are trying to fuck with you.
Yeah.
They would definitely try to see your penis.
Yeah, and there was a chick that I met at the mental hospital that like was trying to get my dick pic, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. She was like hitting on me. She had a boyfriend, and she was hitting on me, hitting on me, and I was like kind of pushing her away as we were talking on the phone. She had a boyfriend, but I kind of gave in a little bit, and because she's like, I want to have sex with you. I'm like, all right, come to the Spokane and pick me up at the bus station right now. And then when I displayed any kind of interest, this chick revealed to me that her and her boyfriend were just fucking with me. And as they're like, that right there just shows how Christians are a bunch of assholes. And I blocked them.
Well, hold on. I don't think that we can lay that at the feet of all Christians. I think that's one of the one of the issues I see is there's a lot of generalizations that happen. Okay, there is. Alex wants to come in. Perfect, because I need to go grab something at the door. So one of the things.
I know nice Christians too. I do. Yeah, I definitely do.
I told you, I, and this fucker here, we're non-believers, right?
Right.
One of the things that kind of annoys me is that when I see people lay everything at the feet of certain Christians are assholes, absolutely, but I don't think it's fair to lambaste all Christians because of the actions of a few.
I know.
Right. So just like same thing with the same thing. Hold on for a second. The same thing with the Zoomer women. There's a lot of them that are outside of for you, they're inside the demographic you want, but because they don't reciprocate your feelings, you lay that at the feet of all Zoomers, and I do not think that is fair at all. Okay.
Well, I mean, party at. I mean, if somebody wants to invite me to the party, I'll go to that party, and I'll show you the gentleman that I can be. Otherwise, you don't know my approach. Okay. You know me from the past. You don't really know me from who I am now. I mean, if she was there and there was a party and somebody was interested in looking at me and seemed friendly, I would just go up and say hello. But it doesn't seem like anybody wants to have me at the party, but they want to be my friend, and but they don't want to invite me to the parties. They just want me to buy them sandwiches and hook them up with weed. Well, that's not fair to me.
All right. Okay. So
I'm a guy too.
So I need to step out for a second. We do have a guest here. This is Irate Alex. What's going on?
Good evening. How are we?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Lucas. How's it going, man? You all right?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing all right. How you doing, man?
I'm very excited to speak to you. I've been a fan of yours for a long time.
Glad to hear.
Yeah. I did have some questions for you, but I think a lot of those questions have actually been directed towards you already during the stream. Like you've spoken about the you kind of wanting to have your friends introduce you to the quote unquote honeys. And I don't think I fully understand your position on that, but at the same time, I almost kind of do, because you mentioned about like hooking them up with food, and so that you'd hope that you'd have some kind of reciprocation there.
I was kind of thinking the friendships were reciprocal, but it seems like they're a lot of times just toxic.
No, I completely understand what you're saying. But there's one question that's kind of like stood out in my mind. This is something that I've wanted to ask you about for a long time, and I'd ask that you do not get upset about the question, but it is from, I think, a year ago or 2 years ago now. The Starbucks incident. I was hoping to get your side of the
everybody wants to talk about Starbucks. The only thing I know is I wrote a chick a note. She looked like she was in her early 20s to me. She certainly, when I started going to college, looked a lot older than the women. I found out later she was 23 from somebody. People say that I was hitting on a 16-year-old. That wasn't the case. It was 5 years ago. People need to move on, I think.
How did you feel when Chris Hansen himself issued a warning, fired a shot across the bow at you about that?
Chris Hansen's a punk bitch. I mean, I understand that he's trying to fight pedophilia, and I feel him on that level. I get that. But for him to lump me into these assholes is unfair. I was not trying to hit on an underage girl, and this is 5 years ago. And I've addressed this hundreds of times. I don't know why people can't just move on.
I don't think that he's made any more kind of advances or warnings towards you since. I think he's been primarily focused on the whole Onision situation there. Do you remember what it is that you said to that young lady?
Starbucks?
Yeah.
Just like, again, I laid down some telomere research. I mentioned age phobia. And I was kind, and I asked if she wanted to go have dinner sometime. And it blew up in my face. But this is like half a decade ago.
Well, I've heard you use similar arguments to even, back then. You mentioned the telomerase and telomeres, which I believe is based off of one study to do with rats, isn't it?
No, it's based on like 1,200 studies to do with older male sperm. As a matter of fact, there's like 7 teams working on this now, so it might be around 2,000 studies-ish. I've read like 200, like not the full studies, but like enough to get the gist of what's going on to make me want to research this further in school, because it's fascinating stuff.
I'm building towards something here, Lucas, because in my experience, I'm 32 myself. I'm not Generation X. I'm filthy, dirty millennial, I suppose. But your approach to women in general has been very colorful, shall we say, over the last 5 or so years. Like even now, for example, as I said, I am a fan. I do like your Instagram. You've been dropping the N-word an awful lot. And it kind of, to me, it kind of feels like you're holding that word ransom at the moment in exchange for. Is that what? Come on, what's going on there, Lucas?
Just trying to get some laughs, but I stopped doing it. I was doing it for a little while just to get some laughs, because I was getting some laughs from like the college crowd, and that's why I was doing it. And I don't do it right now. I'm just doing it for a little while to piss people off and see if I can get some laughs. I'm glad.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh, granted, but I think
it was to get that laugh. Yeah, I'm sure it did, and it's whatever. I did it just to piss off the establishment and to get some laughs, and it worked. But I'm beyond that. I'm not even trying to do that right now. I usually say, dude.
Okay.
I was kind of doing that to mock that generation, because they say it all the time. Not all of them, of course, but like a lot of them do.
Yeah, but I say it's quite the generalization, and I kind of feel like perhaps maybe you do perhaps maybe make some generalizations whenever you're speaking, like talking about the entirety of Generation Z, for example, in the way that you do.
It's not all of them. I do meet a lot of them that do.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of like building towards something here, because your methods for attempting to acquire a date with the younger ladies has been more than a little bit colorful. I mean, the use of the talk about telomerase, telomeres. I mean, I've got the note that you dropped off to the Starbucks lady directly in front of me, which in it does mention telomerase. Mentions you were 35 at the time, I believe. You mentioned about like not having sex for X amount of time.
That might be a different note, because a lot of people said that this certain note was something that I gave her, but I haven't seen any pictures of the actual note that I gave her. I've seen people saying stuff. It's like with that thing with the Onasan, whatever that is. People saying that I was part of something like that, and I have no idea what that was about. People just straight up have lied about me too. Like
can I read the note, and then you can tell me, you can debunk it if I read it to you?
Sure, and I'm sure it was from 5 years ago, but go ahead.
There's this chemical in my body, telomerase. Something men past 35 automatically become something about husbands. It needs or leads offspring, stronger DNA. It's been a year. It's been 5 years since I've had sex. Why do I feel this need to be inside you?
Yeah, that was kind of the old Lucas, I guess you can say. I'm not trying to do that anymore.
Fair enough.
I realized how that was, but I was kind of in desperation and just kind of being weird. And I'm not really that dude anymore. I've changed.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you aren't making those kinds of advances towards females anymore. But you again, like you've been being trolling on Instagram with the whole N-word situation, but of course you've kind of like kept latching on to the telomeres argument, and you've been making your own memes and things of that nature.
For sure.
Do you think that your methods for approaching the quote unquote Gen Z honeys is is something that will eventually work, or do you think that there maybe might be a different, method you could possibly
if I
incorporate?
evolve my approach, if somebody were to direct me to the location of the party, then you would see who I really am. Or I'm going to have to do it myself and just approach somebody in public and see how it works out. Like I approached there was this chick, this cute African-American chick after the BLM thing, and we had a slight conversation, and I ended up taking her out to lunch. So, I mean, when I was in the hospital recently, all my friends in the hospital were like younger women, and we hung out all the time and talked about their bullshit. That's who I've been trying to become, is kind of the confidant and friend. I'm not trying to like pose who I am out there. I'm trying to glow them up and be a better guy. I mean, I realize I've made some mistakes, and I think I do deserve some forgiveness for that. It's almost like a science experiment. I'm trying to be a better guy than I was years ago. I'm trying. But seemingly nobody wants to invite me to the parties, but they just want, they want to give me vague answers about things. During the whole like COVID-19, the sexual promiscuity bounced in Spokane, where guys were like swooping at bars 6 at a time because there was very little guys around. So they'd swoop 6 chicks or 2 chicks, go have sex with them all. And then the next day you'd see them with like 6 more chicks. And one of them's a friend of mine, and he didn't want to hook me up with any chicks, I guess. I haven't asked him. He's like 19. But every time I see this dude, he always has like 6 girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? Like 6 honeys with him.
Yeah, I've seen some of your videos where you've mentioned the Gen Z chads, I suppose.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
You often, the way you describe it, it's as if these Gen Z men, 19, 20-year-olds are banging 6 to 12 ladies at a time, collecting them like they're Pokemon cards almost.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're going into bars, and like I'm seeing these dudes that are like different days. They'll be like, oh, there's 6 of them. I'm gonna have my 6 for this weekend. They'll walk past me when I'm like sitting there smoking weed outside Rite Aid and ask me how I'm doing. When they got 2 girlfriends, they're holding hands with one on each hand, and I'm just there trying to be polite, like, I'm good, I'm doing okay. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that it should be obvious that I feel that they're greedy. Oh, okay, you're not going to hook me up. Well, okay, you're going to bring up the past. Okay, you're going to do this. You're going to be a prick to me. Why is it necessary for people to be pricks to me? Why can't you just invite me to the party where you're at and show me that you're a friend? To me, it seems like they're greedy. I'm not saying that's all of them, but it seems like they're greedy. And we have a vaccine now.
Lucas, well, let's say I'm the Gen Z friend, for example, and I invite you out to the club or whatever, to where the party's at, and I introduce you to them, but none of them are interested.
Well, I think they would be, but you can't really base it on anything. I mean, there's no evidence. I think they would be, because I would know what to do. I would approach, I would walk up, and I'd say, it is a pleasure to meet you. I'd be polite. I have met friends of friends, and I've always been polite to the women IRL.
What's your pickup line? Like how do you get the Gen Z honeys interested?
Well,
what is it?
The best pickup line is hi.
No.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Just try to be a gentleman. You know what I mean? Listen to them. Ask them how their day is going. Ask them how they've been dealing with the COVID-19. Ask them if they're staying safe. Ask them, what their hobbies are.
Does it smell like chloroform to you?
Let me see your titty.
If you really are a creep, you would do that. But that's a funny line. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, sure. All joking aside, you really just got to try to be a gentleman. That's really the best approach, is to try to be a king. Just try to be a gent.
So at what point does the talk of, telomeres, the board games, for example, when does that come out? Is that when you secure a date, or does that come out on the first night?
No, I mean, like, I might mention it once. I mean, if somebody asked me why I'm in college, I'd just say, well, I'm in college studying genetics because there's this enzyme telomerase. This seems to be high in the reproductive systems of Gen X men at this time and millennial women at this time, but I also do other things besides that. I'm designing board games, but it's not really necessary to talk about that right now. It's not really all that interesting. It's just weird sciencey stuff. You wouldn't be interested. I kind of just blow it off, or I don't even mention it at all.
So what degree are you going for?
I would like to get a PhD. I mean, it would be like 20 years down the road, or maybe 10, but I would like to study it.
Okay, I'm assuming you don't have an associate's yet.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Starting from scratch.
I understand. So what degree path are you going for your associates?
Biology track, Associates of Science at college.
Okay, and so you're in this
I'm
college,
older.
and most likely what?
I mean, I'm older, but I'm trying to do something different.
Oh, dude, no, my grandma got her fucking degree when she had like 7 kids already, and she got it like at the age of 60.
There you go.
You get it when you get it. She didn't need it; she just wanted it. Okay, so you're in this degree path and yada yada. Most likely, all the people in your classes are probably right around 18, 19. I know that feeling because I went out of the military and went to college and felt like
It's a little weird.
Billy Madison. What generally what you need to do first is to work on yourself first, not worry about getting anyone else involved with your scenario, because you can't build a life with someone if one of the pillars is rotted, I guess.
Yeah, but I still want what I want. I want to be in a relationship.
I want a Lamborghini.
Well, yeah, I mean, with everything you've got to work.
Lucas, if I might impart some of my own knowledge, after having served some time in the Navy, I've been around the world.
Ladies,
you know, have a shave. You know, get a friggin' haircut. Get off the street. Get a job.
Yeah.
Stop. I saw a video of you recently. You were licking a roll-on deodorant. I don't know why you were doing that.
Licking.
I
wasn't licking.
I saw you licking a roll-on deodorant.
I did not lick it. I smelled it. I did not lick it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Your tongue was awfully close to that roll-on bit. Like,
well, I'm afraid I didn't lick it.
So why were you stopping at the shave part, Werner?
No, the what?
The shave part. I mean,
beards, they grow on you.
I understand, but my beard looks like majestic.
Yeah.
You look like someone glued pubes on someone's face. So
I don't grow a really good beard. I really don't. I probably will eventually. I just haven't really.
Just take some time. All right. So let's so now that Fit and Curvy.
What's that over there?
Hey, okay, cool. Hey, we swinging dicks have been talking for far too long. Let's get some in here.
Sexism.
Slack.
Should I bugger off?
Yeah, I mean you can stick around, but I do want Fit and Curvy to get in, and I think after Fit and Curvy, Lola, and we're going to probably end on Lola. So yeah, I'm going to stay.
I'll jump out then. I'll jump out. Thank you for the invite, and thank you, Lucas. I genuinely do like you.
Thank you, Alex.
I'll speak to you guys soon. Peace.
Later, Alex. All right, cool. Fit and Curvy. Hi.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can. How are you doing?
Loud and clear.
I'm hanging in there. So to be fair, I don't know much about this guy. I just want to state that first. So I'm curious, what are you looking for? Because I know you mentioned people keep bringing up your past, and I feel like most of us can agree there's some aspects of our past we're not super proud of, you know, and we can all grow from our mistakes and grow from the shitty, horrible things we've done. So I'm curious from a woman's perspective. Now, just to be clear again, I'm a woman. I'm married to a cisgendered man. I'm curious. He's an army vet. So I'm curious, what is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for? Because I married a man that I met off of Tinder, just also to be clear.
Somebody young, pretty, empathic, kind. I mean, I've dated outside my generation. I dated a baby boomer once. I've dated women that are much older than I am. I just would like to try something different. and try to date younger women. My dad and my stepdad are both age gappers now because my mom and stepdad, younger women. It seems to me like it works out better. I've read research that says that older dads are more attentive. I've read that stuff like that, how there's more like getting along between older men and younger women because older dudes tend to be a little more mature. So like my mom and my stepdad are 10 years apart, and something about them, it's like as time has worn on, it's like they're even more in love today than they were when they first got married in 1986. And same with my dad and stepmom in 1987. It's like they're more in love now than they were 30 years ago. And I grew up with the whole idea of like my mom's basically talking about how older dudes are the shit, and talking about like from them how younger women are the shit, and how like that intergenerationalism, or I mean they're all baby boomers, but like that age gap thing seems to work out really well between younger women and older men for some reason, because women will often complain about immaturity from guys, and that immaturity can come from any age group. But like you're probably going to find a more mature man to be 30 years old than an 18-year-old. I'm not trying to generalize, but that's often the case.
I think that there's something to be said about life experience. Again, I'm 31. My husband is 33, just for clarification, so people understand where I personally am coming from. This is my perspective. My husband is an Army vet, and he comes from a line of military men, and he's been through his own fair of shit, as I'm sure Billy and anyone in here who's a vet can attest to. Thank you, Billy. And any vet in the chat, obviously, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily has to be an age thing. I think it can be a life experience thing. I think it can be you fucked up, but how did you grow from that fuck up? Because I know that the Geek Room specifically, I'm a semi-new subscriber. I've been in the chat just semi-recently voicing my opinion on stuff. There have been fuck ups in this chat, and it's been addressed, and you grow from those mistakes. So would you count that as a mature thing also, or are you just looking at an age thing? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to be shitty or shady or bitchy. I'm just really honestly curious.
You're not.
I'm not worried about your opinion of me, but I'm just saying from my perspective, as someone that's curious, do you feel like experiences and action, because you can apologize till you're blue in the face, but if you do not back up your apology with action, because I believe there was a statement about you using the N-word, and I could be wrong. If you don't back up that apology with action, have you actually learned from your fuck up? That's just, I'm just curious.
Well, I did it to get the laugh.
Okay, I don't think using that kind of language or that kind of wording is for laughs. I don't think that's funny. I could be,
But like, it may not be the thing that's funny to like millennials and Generation X, but it seems to be funny to the college crowd.
I don't think racist statements are funny. I don't think that's
really.
I don't think they view that way.
Boomers.
Well, no, I mean, I went to the Black Lives Matter thing, and like there were like a lot of white guys there. Spokane's a predominantly white town, and a lot of the time they were like, "Can I say the word?" I mean, to say what they said, they were like. Like after the whole police brutality thing, they're like, "Yeah, nigga," and like these were white guys with their black friends, and the black guys and the black women were just accepting of it because they were young and that's how they talk.
Well, let's kind of rephrase from using that word.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm a white female. If it wasn't fucking obvious, I work with literally all white as fuck. I work with all black men. And I can tell you right now, again, from my perspective, to be fair, I can tell you that never in my mind would it cross my mind to ask my black brothers at work if it was okay to use that word, use that type of language in any way, shape, or form. Because I can tell you, they'd be like, "You're fucking stupid. What are you thinking?" Like that's not funny. No. There's no but in that conversation.
There really is. because among 18-year-olds today, they use it all the time, often.
And so how
it's just
is being 18?
We're all in our 30s and 40s.
How is being 18 being like that's okay and it's immature? We need to correct that kind of shit. Perhaps,
but people are often offended by the word shit and fucking damn too. And I don't want to be a police. I don't want to be the police of young people's words. If it's accepted amongst the black community.
Fuck.
Right.
It's my favorite word. You can hear me say it at work all the time. I work with all dudes. I have no fucking filter. Fuck is my favorite curse word. But never would I look at my brothers at work who have worked their entire fucking life when they get pulled over by the cops, are literally terrified for their fucking lives. Never would I look at them and go, hey, can I use the N-word even if I say it with a soft R? No, that's not how this fucking works, dude. You will not tell me as a millennial, I'm 31, okay? 31 millennial in chat here. You will not tell me that N-word is okay.
Okay,
go ahead.
Because women use it all the time.
I'm sorry, I got a
soapbox. Use it all the time. It's different generation. They use it all the time.
Just because it's a generation thing doesn't mean it's okay. I'm sorry, Billy. Go ahead.
Exactly. So okay.
Well, it's okay amongst them.
It isn't. Okay, Werner.
It is. It actually is. You guys are military fucking right wingers, so it doesn't really matter.
No, she's not a right winger. I'm not a right winger. I voted for Biden. I voted for Bernie during the primary.
Yeah.
All the other good stuff.
But amongst them, it's accepted.
What? Okay.
I'm not saying I'm going to use it all the time, but among them, it's accepted.
Okay,
for what
that's fine. So, here's some life experience things.
I don't think it's right either, but in a way, I was mocking them.
Okay. So, okay, that was weird. But just because a generation does it doesn't give you the right to do it, or just because they find it funny doesn't mean you should do it.
Age phobia and ageism. That's bigotry.
Okay, whatever.
You're saying that only a certain generation can use something.
No,
that's bigotry.
I'm not.
You're not. Well, you are.
You just said millennials. Hi, I am one. Just
great.
You know, you want
your religion, millennials is millennials' religion. It seems like to me. It's like that's all they care about. We're millennials, so we're better than everybody.
No,
that's literally not what
we're the
I'm
most
saying.
shit on generation on the planet.
We're shit on generation, which is fine, perfectly fine. Okay.
I like a lot of millennials.
I'm happy for you. I have a lot of family that are boomers that thought certain language was okay. And now they've learned, oh shit, that's not okay. It's racist. We shouldn't use that type of language. So you can't tell me this is a generational age area thing. And you're not going to use the argument that, oh, they do it, so it's okay. I'm going to mock them.
Why are they allowing the white kids to use it these days? Why are they allowing it to be
Why
passed?
who? Why
the Zoomers allow the white people to use the N-word? Why is that a pass?
What? It's not a pass. Who's doing that?
It shouldn't be. That's kind of why I was mocking them for it. But why is it allowed?
So you're mocking...
It should be addressed. I agree with you.
You're absolutely right, because I hear kids younger than me use that type of language and I go, absolutely not okay. Let me show you why it's not okay. Let me show you the historical reasoning of why it's not okay. But you using the word to mock is not an excuse for your usage of the word. Like actually saying the word in context. So just explain it to me. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be, explain it to me. I'm willing to hear you out. Go ahead, explain it to me. Why is it okay for you to use that word in context of mocking people? Why is that a joke to you?
Because it got a laugh and it was funny to them and I wanted them to laugh.
Who is laughing?
Gen Z people, college age people.
Okay, great.
We're laughing.
Gen Z college age people. Are these people of color? Are these white people like the three of us you can see on camera? Why is that funny?
Like black and brown. I don't know. They were black and brown and they were laughing and saying it was funny.
I have a hard time believing that. I do. Okay. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. I have a hard time believing
that. They said it was funny. I agree that it might not be accepted, but it might just be our conservative old asses saying that they can't use certain words.
But do you realize that it's not our place as white people to say what is or is not racist, even in a joking context?
I think as white people, we should shut the fuck up.
So you should shut the fuck up.
We should all shut the fuck up when it comes to black.
But you really should shut the fuck up because you use the word in a mocking tone.
Well, we should all shut the fuck up about this and let the black people talk when it comes to black issues.
So as a black person here.
Yeah, please. Please, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
That was great timing. That was great.
Timing is everything. Go ahead. I'm listening. Sorry, I'm shutting up and not laughing.
So thank you, Kirby.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. I know people get up in arms about it. So the way that I communicate this to people is that I understand. I've seen what Lucas is talking about, but I actually agree with Fit and Kirby about is. So I call it in-group, out-group dynamics, right? I don't tell people what they can say in their own home. If you want to sing the lyrics to whatever Lil Wayne song you want to, and I've heard him rhyme nigga with nigga for the last 10 years. That's on him. And if you buy the CD, what you listen to, what you say in your own home, fine. Know your audience. If you are out in public, probably not the best place. If your black friend is giving you the N-word card, cool. Right place, right time for that. Not in public.
Right.
There's just certain things that I'm not going to say. Like between, perfect example, me and this guy here are also service members. He and I are going to communicate in a vastly different way than other people. Civilians don't understand a type of crude gallows humor. So while I recommend that people understand what to say and when to say it, I'm not going to dictate to you what you say. Right? That's just sort of where my feelings are on that. But
it was something I was doing for a couple weeks to be silly, and it was getting a laugh from the non-white crowd for some reason, and so I just continued to do it. And now I'm kind of bored of it because it really is kind of immature. But then again, it makes me look: is it just our old conservative asses telling Gen Z what to do? Is there any Gen Z in this conversation? I mean, we should ask them their opinion about it. I mean, especially like black 18-year-old people, what they think about it. They probably be like, well, it's time for a vibe check. But a lot of them allow it, and it's funny to me that it's allowed. I mean, we could just all say dude or man or bro or whatever, or first name basis like Obama liked. But you would really have to ask the Zoomers what they think about it, because to me, it's inappropriate, and I was mocking that, but it also seems like we're old and conservative compared to them. And I think that you should really ask what they think about it.
I'm sorry.
Young African American crowd, young white crowd, what they think about it.
Can I? I'm sorry. I mean,
we're old. We're millennials and Gen X. We're old people compared to them.
Right. So
we're conservative. We're a bunch of Nazis compared to them.
Hold on, real quick. So we're going to try to progress it. So Fit and Kirby want to get like sort of your closing statements on that. And then I believe Frank said that we actually have a question from the chat that we want to address, because then we want to sort of finish up on Lola here. Okay.
Sorry. Thank you. I was going to say, so I guess I jumped on one because I love the geek room just overall, but also, you're welcome, Billy. But also so you were talking a lot about like Tinder and meeting women and stuff like that. So I honestly wholeheartedly didn't even want to get into the whole racist issue debate, because who am I? I'm just some white chick on the internet. So I guess my question is, what are you looking for? Because I can tell you, as a 31-year-old woman, I can give you legit perspective as someone who also met her husband, who's gaming right now, who served in the military. What is it that you're looking for? Are you
probably someone a little more mature than like that crowd that I was mocking? You know what I mean? But like, I don't want to generalize and say it's always them saying like the N-word or whatever, because it's stupid. But like someone that, again, is kind, pretty, interested, and seems like a good human being that seems empathic and kind to others. The old saying is that you could be kind to me, but if you're mean to the waiter, you're not kind. Someone that is just a kind person. And why younger women? Well, why not? Why not try something new? Also, strong DNA in kids from the eggs. I mean, I just want to try something new. I dated somebody that was 18 years older, 12 years older, and I was fine with that. I just would like to try something new if I could, if that's acceptable. Where the party at? You know what I mean?
So what's your issue? What are your what are your obstacles? Is my question, because it sounds like you've had some fuck ups. Have you learned from your fuck ups, and have you backed up those fuck ups and apologies with action? Is my question.
Nobody's really complained too much about it, but like the whole like Starbucks thing, I've apologized for that for 5 years, but people won't accept it.
Okay.
I don't like these motherfucking oligarchs anyway. I don't like the police state anyway. I don't really like the military or the police state anyway. So I align mostly with ACAB and Antifa on that because I'm sick and tired of the capitalist fucking system.
All right.
And the military industrial complex. I'm sick of it. And a lot of young people are too. So I think that we get along well on that aspect.
All right. So we actually have, thank you, actually, Fit and Curvy. We do need to cut to the question.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Soft-spoken wanted to know, why is he claiming to be mature as his selling point while saying racist things and doing immature things? And if he understands that maturity isn't, that maturity isn't an age, it's a mindset.
Right. But you know what? Like somebody that's a little more down to earth, somebody that's like, fun, that wants to have fun. A lot of times when like younger women date older guys, they date them because the younger guys are immature and they don't really want to party anymore. I'm looking for somebody that's an intellectual, but it is also kind. Like I get along well with my friend Isabel in Australia because she's smart, you know, and she's not constantly partying like people. And a lot of times when women date older guys, it's because the older guys don't want to party all the time. And I'm not really looking to party all the time. I don't want to get drunk all the time. Like when I was 21, I don't want to do that. But I still would like to know the location of where I can meet women at. And then you would see the true gentleman that I could be. If you don't want to see that, well, that's fine. Then I got to go on my own. And it's sucky that people are judgmental towards me and won't even invite me to the parties, but they want all the chicks for themselves, and the chicks just give into the greed of these guys. I'm not saying that is all women, of course, but it's certainly a lot of them, where it's like the guy has a flashy car and a Bernie Sanders sticker, and the guy's talking about how liberal he is, but it just comes down to the money. I'm looking for somebody that's not in it for the money. And I would say that most women are not money worshipers, but there's certainly women that are, and dudes too, that are just like into the people that are into money. You know what I mean? It's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about that nice car. It's all about that nice house. But meanwhile, we're a socialist generation called the Zoomers of Generation Z. Where are the interesting intellectual women that don't worship money? Because from what I've looked at, it's probably like 90% of that generation anyway. So may as well introduce me to them, not the superficial ones. Someone that's not superficial, someone that's kind. Someone that gets my humor. Someone that wouldn't be dropping the N-word every 2 seconds. But you do find a lot of them these days do. And again, I was kind of mocking them. I'm sorry if that offended, but you know, it is what it is. You know, I was not trying to be racist. I was trying to act like them.
Right. But just to be fair, that's not an apology that I can accept or not. That's up to other people. But to me, that's not a joking matter. But again, that's just me. So you want to find someone who's intellectual. Would you be okay with someone such as myself who has a degree, has a career, who's pretty far in life, owns my own home? You probably just saw my husband in the background. Sorry, he likes to be the star of the show. I own my vehicle. If you met me in the street, now to be fair, I'm not a bar person. I'm just not.
Right.
If you met me on the street, if you met me in Target, if you met me in Walmart, you know, if the pandemic wasn't happening, like, would you be okay with the fact that I have a career, that I have a degree, that I'm like, nah, I'm independent. I don't need no man or woman or whomever to take care of myself. I'm good by myself. Having a relationship would just be an added bonus.
We do need to get Lola in here at some point.
I would certainly be.
Yeah, Lola, I love hearing Lola's perspective on things. So I'm gonna shut my mouth. Sorry, I got a loud mouth.
I would absolutely be your friend. Would I date you? Probably not.
Why?
Because I want someone that's young.
Okay, so 31's not young to you. I'm asking.
My last girlfriend was 18 years older than me, and the one before her was 12 years older than me.
So I'm 31. I have a stepdaughter, to be fair. I'm 31, no children, technically biological children. I have a stepdaughter, like I said. So I'm not young in your eyes.
You're young. You're younger than I am by 10 years, but I want someone younger than that.
Okay. Sorry, Lola, go ahead. I'll shut up.
Yep, your turn, Lola.
Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Lola. So I am not really familiar with your backstory or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about me dredging up things from years ago because I don't know them. But what I went off of was your page, and then the things that you like, your YouTube page with all your videos, which thankfully at least weren't hours long. You know, they were all very short. There's a lot of them, but you know, it made it easy to go through the catalog. And I've been listening here, and then I did a little bit of science reading, but I knew that somebody else would handle that part. So you've listed some qualities that you want in this sense, I'm going to say romantically, right?
Right.
Kindness was a word you said a lot. Intelligent.
Down to earth.
Down to earth. Okay. All right. Isn't materialistic. Yeah.
I feel that's actually most women. I feel that most women aren't materialistic.
That they are not?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So then I'm interested in your terminology because I some words are kind of new to me. Am I someone to be swooped like the honeys?
Well, I mean, you're certainly pretty enough and interesting enough and nice enough that, like, I mean, I would, if I was interested in dating somebody that was around 30 years old, I definitely would be interested. I think that both of you are nice and seem like dateable women. It's just I want something that is, I don't know. You got to dream the impossible dream sometimes. I want to date 18.
I didn't tell you my age though.
Well, you look young enough. Yeah, I'm here to listen.
Oh, I mean, as a lady, I'll refrain from that for the time being. But I have accomplished quite a bit of things in my life so far. Okay, and the other thing, when you say party, what is that?
Like a location where people might be like hanging out, smoking weed. I'm not really into meth or heroin. I don't like that hardcore drug scene. But like a little bit of drinking's fine. A little bit of like smoking weed's fine, especially if you're around 21. I mean, it's legal in Washington State at 21. But I mean, if that's going on and they're a bunch of 18-year-olds, I'm not a snitch. You know what I'm saying? But like if that was going on and I saw somebody that was cute that I wanted to talk to, I would just go up and talk to her and say hello.
Okay.
Given that opportunity.
Okay, so then that sounds a little bit different than what I go to. Typically, I would say like a gala event or soiree.
Well, yeah, you're mature, and you're somebody, and I'm not necessarily looking for maturity.
You aren't looking for mature. Okay, got that.
I am, and I am not. I'm just looking for younger women. I mean, somebody that's around 18 to 22, 21 would be the ideal for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
You go to things that I would probably find interesting, but I want to date somebody that's just younger women. It's just something that I want to try.
Well, I do actually go to some events that would be considered somewhat of a party.
You do seem like a cool person.
I'm delightful.
You are delightful.
Yeah. I actually was a part of the fetish community in Atlanta for a while. And those are some kickin' parties. I mean, you know, you go into one room and I got to eat a piece of pineapple off of a lady's bits. And then I got to go hang out with my friend in the next room. And, you know, it was all a good time. I taught a class and everything. And no one was using any drugs, not even the hard ones.
Right.
We were just, you know, having a good old soiree time. But this is what's been interesting to me. So when I was 18, which may not be as long ago as you think. I dated a man who was 46. So to say that I'm ageist, at least in that example, would be a little absurd, right?
Right.
That was a really bizarre dynamic because there was so much that I wanted to discover and so much that he already had planned. And it was weird and imbalanced.
I don't think that it would be imbalanced in all cases.
What's that?
I don't think they would be imbalanced in all cases.
I mean, you have to understand that there are it's not always necessarily the age of the person. I understand that there's the component that you're looking for as far as perfect mate for this golden child that you want. But it's also
a preference. I mean, I've dated older women, so I enjoyed that experience. I just would like to know what it would be like to date an 18-year-old. And I think that's a reasonable thing to want to explore something like that. A lot of people wake up one day and they're like, "Hey, I want to date a black guy."
Why?
Cool. Why do they do that? I don't know.
I'm sorry, Lola. I don't mean to interrupt. But why are you interested in dating or experiencing something with an 18-year-old? I'm just curious.
Because I think they're hot.
Okay, so a millennial. I'm not talking about me, just in general, conceptually. A millennial or someone older or your age group realistically can't be attractive to you.
They're not as attractive to me.
Why?
I don't know. Tighter skin, maybe. They're just hotter to me. They look like Cupid dolls. They turn me on. They make my dick hard.
Are they childish in your eyes? This is my husband. Are they childish looking in your eyes?
Okay, never mind my feelings. I heard about the beard comment anymore.
This is my husband.
Don't be knocking beards, man. Maybe knock mine because it's patchy.
Yeah, yours. Yes, we will not yours.
He's an army that don't mind me. Billy,
that's fine. Just on me all you want, my fucking shitty beard. You know, all you want.
The guy you're talking shit to ain't got no beard. Fuck that dude.
That guy. Yeah, okay, so Billy likes, or my husband likes Billy.
Billy, I love you. I'm touching your beard.
This is Frank.
I'm touching yours.
Okay, I like Frank too. Oh yeah, grab it, Billy.
This is Drag.
Grab it, Billy.
And Lola, we like.
Okay, let's get back on Lola's point real quick.
All right, we're getting on Lola's point.
Yeah, let's go back on Lola's.
Yes. I was kind of generating a sort of scenario for you. So hopefully with that intermission, we can continue with the story. At any rate, so wait, there was feedback that okay. So there is it sounds like what is of most importance based on the things that I've said and then the exceptions that you've made is the age part. That is a significant thing. Yes?
A little bit. When I dated older women, it was, I mean, they were pretty too, but there's different kinds of beauty. I just want to explore a different kind of beauty. Okay. And I sort of dated a 30-year-old. We were friends, but it didn't get too romantic. I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. I didn't have the same feels inside me that I have when I'm around like 18, 21-year-old women.
Yeah.
Feels.
So here's what I find interesting is that whenever I've talked with you about just now, and when I've heard you respond to that and several of the other conversations, it seems like, and you talk a lot about ageism and having that be a factor in your life, like you feel that people judge you for that. Yeah?
Well, yeah, they're not inviting me to the parties, but they want to be my friend. But they're not really being my friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they see somebody that's just, I
mean, I'll show you who I am with these women. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do my own dirty work. Why can't people just be my friend and invite me to the party?
I don't know that you would really enjoy the party that much, to be honest with you. And I don't know if those are the people you want to go with. But regardless, here's the point that I'm making here.
I smoke a lot of weed, so I don't think so. I think that I would get along well with them. And I've gotten along well with them. I've gotten along well with the dudes.
Well, based on results, it sounds like you haven't gotten very far.
Not yet, but I've only really been kicking it with that crowd for like 6 months since the summer. I mean, I'm always there for them. I'm always like, if they want food, I'm always there to hook them up with food and buy them food at restaurants and shit. I mean, I'm there for them, but the conversation often turns to them talking about like their struggles with women, or usually with Isaac, like his struggles with women. I'm trying to give him good advice about he's hung up on this chick named Sally, and I want him to move on.
I have ADD, so it's hard for me to extend the thing. So apologies, but let's help me keep on track because I have a hard time. So here's basically what I'm kind of breaking down here is that in all of this, what the person that seems to be more concerned with age, and that is a factor, is you.
Perhaps.
So when you say that people are ageist towards you, I really find that to be a bit of projection.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll believe you as soon when I'm invited to the party. Then I won't be feeling like they're greedy and age phobic.
Well,
when I'm invited to the party, when I have evidence.
Okay, you also don't have to give them anything. If you want to donate to people, I am starting up a nonprofit this year, next year, right? And another thing also is your interest in socialism, communism, etc., and talking about that interest in Karl Marx and such.
No gods, no masters, no war but class war. Fuck capitalism.
Okay. So I am a capitalist.
Fuck the military industrial complex.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm a capitalist and I run a nonprofit. I like that I'm able to give to those that I can choose to give to without anyone telling me who I have to give to. I only keep enough to keep my lights on. I like having that decision to make.
Can I ask you a question? Were you a fan of Andrew Yang?
I don't know who that.
He ran for president this year, and he considered himself a capitalist as well, but a compassionate capitalist that felt that we needed to redistribute the wealth. So he had a lot of like democratic socialist ideals like Bernie Sanders did. And I really liked the guy, would have totally voted for him. And a lot of that young crowd dug him too. And I really love that guy because he said a lot of shit that made sense. He talked about how capitalism has gotten away with bullshit and classism and hoarding wealth like the billionaires like Bezos. And there's been all this sentiment of rolling the guillotines up to their houses, the cardboard guillotines. And I feel that Gen Z identifies more with that than millennials do. I feel that millennials are more capitalist leaning than the Zoomers are. And that's backed up from my own research and my own friendships with them. They fucking hate capitalism.
Okay, well, here's some insight. I don't want to be forced to share what I've worked for. I want, because I'm going to naturally share that anyway.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing there. Now, do I think that healthcare should be a little bit different? Yes, I think that people should have a right to receive adequate healthcare. That's about the only place where I'm a little bit different. But here's kind of my big point here is that you're wanting something, but you don't want everything that comes with it. You want the image of it, but you don't want the reality. And you have to understand, an 18-year-old is not going to be that much of an intellectual, is not going to be particular. Well, let me finish. Not going to particularly be as kind as they could be. Typically, that's learned along the way with different life experience. The qualities you're looking for, you're going to have a much harder time finding in somebody that's younger. And also, if you're putting into who you want as a partner based on how well they can make a baby for you, you have to really understand, do you love them?
Yeah. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with them. I'm a little angry at them, but again, I love them because they're like my nieces and nephews' age. You know what I mean? And I go to school with them.
That's a weird way to look at it.
Well, okay, you can be a bigot all you want, but I don't really trust capitalists as far as I can throw them. I don't like the military industrial complex, and I don't like capitalism. I'm sorry, but that's my opinion.
Okay.
I'm fucking tired of that shit. I think that people deserve a UBI. I think that people deserve a UBI. I think this is a greedy fucking country. And fuck you if you don't think so. I'm tired of this fucking bullshit country. We treat the billionaires and the millionaires like they're gods. You're the man.
I don't think the words you're using, sorry, Billy and Lola. I don't think the words you're using, you understand the definitions of them.
No, I disagree. Yeah, I do.
I'm just telling you from my perspective. You want an 18-year-old that reminds you of your niece and nephew.
No,
but I don't think you understand that they don't. Well, that's your comparison.
Say that. What I said is that they were their age.
Right, but you still made that comparison that they are their age.
Okay, be a bigot.
I'm not actually, but anyways.
Well, you are actually.
So you want an 18-year-old who can make you a baby who's mature but goes to parties?
Perhaps. I went to parties and was kind of mature when I was 18. I was a little more mature than most of the hip-hop crowd.
I don't think most 18-year-olds are gonna have the life experience or the maturity.
We're 18-year-olds in this conversation. It seems to me like you're speaking for them like a guy who's sexist, talking for what women want, which is misogynistic. You're being age-phobic. You're being ageist. You're saying what the Z want, and you're a millennial. You don't have a right to speak for them.
To be fair, you can't trust her. She's for Slytherin anyway.
It's true. It's true. Straight up.
So,
Lola,
sorry, go ahead.
So Lola,
I just feel like bigoted to say that as a millennial, I know what the Gen Z think. What I'm saying is what I've seen from Gen Z, and it should be them that speak their opinions.
Right. So you're generalizing a lot.
Well, no, I get called retarded a lot by them too, but that's just how the goofy thing rolls. It's not necessarily all of them, but I get called retarded by them too. And they call each other bitches and faggots and stuff. And I don't like it either, but it seems to be accepted among their generation.
Let's not use a homophobic slur, please.
It is.
Right.
I'm just saying that they do that all the time.
Right. So
and a lot of them do that. And that may not necessarily be my crowd. But we use the term bitch a lot in this conversation, and maybe we should stop using that term too.
That's fine. Let's calm it down for a second. Let's calm it down, right? All right. So I want to make sure, Lola, did you sort of get done with what you wanted to say?
I apologize for using that term.
Yeah. Well, I will say that whenever people exhibit behaviors or say things that I find abhorrent or detested, the last thing that I'm going to do is replicate it. I'm actually going to exhibit behaviors that I find more favorable and encourage that among those that are my peers and otherwise. So maybe that would be an option to consider, since the one that you're choosing right now isn't really giving you very good results.
Well, I usually do. Well, if you're going to base on what I did for maybe 2 weeks just to get a rise out of people.
I told you I don't know anything about your past.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
But I'm just saying they a lot of them use a lot of bigoted terms all the time. And it's fascinating to me as somebody that like looks at slang and stuff like that, sort of studying objectively that generation. How they are. There's people that study millennials that are like baby boomers. So it's like, it's something that's a fascination to me, how the liberals have become the bigots. And I'm definitely a left wing. It's just that they use these terminologies all the time. And I'm wondering, is it us being old fogies saying that they can't, or is it something that we should correct in younger people because they're being a bunch of assholes?
I think that
I would like to know their perspective on it, to be quite honest.
Well, here's my conclusion is that from what I've heard and what I've experienced looking at things, not knowing about your past, not equating anything with that, it seems that you view people as categories. You don't view them as human beings. You don't view them as individual, multifaceted individuals. Oh, was that it?
Oh, I'm muted. Does everybody like my Werner impression?
I was muted too. Yeah. He might. Well, it happened earlier. He might just disconnected.
I'm back.
See. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I do in a little bit, but a lot of Greek philosophers also did. Like
Those are cool.
And
Let me finish
Socrates and
before I
Plato
forget.
also
Before I
used to
forget.
be
Lucas, let's let her finish first because we gotta actually wrap
Yes.
this up.
As humans, we categorize things. That is what we do as human beings.
So let's let
Lakes,
her.
rivers, streams, buildings are all categories.
Right, Lucas, let's let her
I think
finish.
you're being a bit hyperbolic.
Let's let her.
But yes.
Wait. All right. Yeah. View people as people. Learn that. Engage with them individually. Don't focus so much on what their labels are. I mean, whether you do or you don't. I'm not saying whether you do or you don't. I'm just generalized statement. This is what I'm saying. That whenever we start viewing people,
Remember your socialists. Avoid the money. Just playing.
Okay. Whenever we start viewing people as categories or places that we put them into, we don't see them as humans anymore. We see them as that label. And perhaps you're missing a lot of opportunities that you could have otherwise had. So maybe for a bit, you can always try something out for a month. Try for a month, maybe, to just get to know people and not know those things about them and see how well you might get along with them.
No, I do. Where are they located?
Try it again.
Okay, where are they located? IRL.
Everywhere.
No. Specifically, where are they located? What's your bar? I mean, I need to know the information. Vagues don't help me at all.
Dude, women are.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude.
Yeah, I get that. Everywhere is not an answer. That's like saying because.
Yes, it is.
It's not an answer.
We're
No.
a human race. We're like over the whole entire goddamn
Where
planet.
are they predominantly located? Like, if I were to ask you and you were in Spokane,
Like
if we were in Spokane and I asked you and you were being vague, I would cut you off for being vague and an asshole.
There's a shit ton of bitches at college.
Right, so we can accept the misogynistic terms, but you're going to bitch at me for using that term now, or you're going to bitch at me for using the homophobic term. Oh, okay, hypocrisy. Great. So but we shouldn't categorize things at all, but we should be hypocritical.
Lucas,
what does Gen Z think?
Do you want like a blueprint?
I don't know, maybe.
So I'm just curious.
Should we use the term like bitch? Should we ever use the term bitch at all?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right.
Well, then can we use the homophobic terms?
Let's calm this down. Let's calm this
down. Oh, so it's okay.
Whoa.
It's okay.
Lucas, calm down. Calm down just a tad bit, all right?
Okay. It's okay to be sexist towards women, but we shouldn't be homophobic.
Lucas.
Shouldn't we get rid of all that?
Lucas, are you listening to me?
I am listening.
Okay. All right.
I find it hilarious. Some things are accepted. We can be misogynistic, but we can't be homophobic.
Lucas, you're not listening to me, man. Lucas, I'm trying to talk to you. Lucas, you hear me?
Okay.
Right.
I'm here.
We reprimand Billy all the time for saying stupid shit, and we just did, right? There is no hypocrisy. The second he said it, me and Frank up there jumped on him, okay? You were talking about this thing, right? We both just jumped on him for that, all right? So cool. Okay. That's how we roll here. All right. On that note, we want to go ahead and bring this to a close, right? So is there something real quick that you want to let people know before we bring this to a close?
I don't hate anybody. If you want to, if you're Gen Z and you want to invite me to the party so I can make conversation with women, that would be a beautiful thing. It would show that you're not greedy. It would show that you're not age phobic. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go with the idea that it seems like most Zoomers are greedy and age phobic. I am basing all this on evidence. If you show me the evidence that you're not, and just allow me to talk to the women and invite me into your little world, I will show you the king that I can be.
Okay, well,
I mean, we're all against like gods and masters, but what I'm saying is like the gentleman that I can be. If you were, just give me the opportunity to be the gentleman and go to that party to show that I can be that gentleman.
I think that you need to establish your own kingdom before you think about being a king.
I think you need to work on yourself before you're going to find anyone that's going to accept you.
But invite me to the party and I'll show you the gentleman that I can be. Let's get Gen Z's opinion on it.
Work on yourself and then you might just find your
queen. I'm not interested in your opinion. I didn't ask. I'm interested in Jim's opinion.
On that note, how about, all right, Frank, do you want to do an after party or after show or?
We can do it. Yeah, we can do an after party. So.
Okay, cool. So about the next 10 minutes, we'll do an after show for people who want to come in and chat. Lucas, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you guys.
Lucas, I'll talk a bit afterwards about other stuff. So On that note, thank y'all for watching. If you've not already subscribed to the Geek Room, please do at this point. And Billy, shut the fuck up. Frank.
We either allow everything or nothing.
Oh.